thought when you hear the term bondage, discipline, dominant, submissive, sadomasochism, and that's typically what they come up with. However, that religious aspect certainly comes into play, and that's what I think of. In fact, it is through a lot of people's religious experiences that causes them to enter this community. And a lot of people just whip their head around. Yes, it is through the church, and a lot of people are going to have a lot of negative things to say about this, but I grew up in the South, on the buckle of the Bible Belt in this country, and I can tell you for a fact that it is true. They don't realize it, but it is very much true. You know, the old school, somewhat misogynistic, which I don't like that. I don't have a problem with traditional roles. You know, I like the fact that I do all the cooking in my house. Well, I used to. Because of work, my wife now cooks some. It's very good when she does. Got to give her credit for that because she used to hate to cook, and now she's kind of come around a little bit and starting to enjoy it somewhat. I love to cook. So if you got here at dinner time, dinner's being put on the table, all you're going to see is her cleaning up afterward. I cook, she cleans, but you won't see that. So perception is not reality, and that's another big misnomer. I hear that all the time. My sister-in-law was the first person that ever argued that with me, because I was just kidding. And I said, perception's reality. No, it's not. There is truth, and then there is perception. People want to say, well, you're getting too specific. You know what it really means. It means that whatever you perceive it to be, that is your truth. Yes, but it doesn't mean that it is the truth. And people have stopped searching for the truth. All they care about is their truth. And that is sad. That is arrogant, delusional, in some cases, egotistical, narcissistic, and just besides that, it's unhealthy. When you live in a society where every person is trying to find their truth instead of looking for the truth, and the truth is becoming scarier and scarier every day. So, back to what I was saying. We do have some very traditional roles in my marriage. She does work. I'm very proud of her in her career choice. She works in the psych field. She has a degree from a very prestigious college that was very difficult for her to obtain because they are tough. But she is smart. I say it was very difficult. For most people it would have been. For her, it was just a lot of hard work. It wasn't so much that it was difficult. It was just hard work. And there is a difference there. I take care of the outside chores. You know, if I had a 24/7 live-in submissive, I would still take care of the outside chores. Why? Because I enjoy mowing the lawn most of the time, and even when I don't, I do have a bit of a traditional side to me, and I believe that that is part of my job. I believe that doing laundry is a woman's job. I don't. Sometimes I do my own laundry. Most of the time my wife does it, because most of the inside chores she takes care of. Some of you may be judging us right now on that. Oh, that's horrible. That's misogynistic. That's sexist. You're living in the 1950s. No, we're not. We talked about on our very first date everything, because that's what I was used to in a relationship. We didn't go into detail about everything, but we spent 6.5 hours sitting on concrete steps down at the landing on the Tennessee River, basically trying to scare each other off, because neither one of us wanted to be in a relationship yet. But instead of scaring each other off, we grew really close, because we found that we're as close to perfect as two people can get for each other. And it works for us. So there again, who are you to judge what works for us? Just like, who am I to judge what works for you? It's our relationship, and the things that we choose to do are not at all abusive. We just have our jobs, and we do them. And yes, they also happen to be traditional roles. Oh, scary. Traditional roles in a relationship. And it works. And we're happy. And we never fight, because neither one of us likes fighting. When we have a disagreement, we talk about it. And that is another thing that BDSM has done for me, because I grew up in a household where it was nothing but screaming and yelling most of the time. And I decided I didn't want that. So when Makita introduced me to a lifestyle where communication, calm, healthy communication, was mandatory, that's what appealed to me the most about it. The other things, yes, they greatly appealed to me, but that was the number one thing that just hooked me. With my wife and I, we use these tools that I have learned and that I have taught her and that she learned independently from her parents, and she has taught me those things that she has learned, and we have brought them together to form something that I thought I would never experience in any type of friendship, or especially a romantic relationship or a marriage. And a lot of people, once the marriage happens, they lose touch with the romantic relationship. But it's because of the communication that it maintains. With that, entering into the community, there are a few things that you need to know. First and foremost, everyone is welcome. Abuse is not tolerated. Period. Everyone is welcome. Period. It's a judge-free zone. Period. Abuse is not tolerated. Exclamation mark. So, how do you go about finding other people in this lifestyle? There are websites. You can Google them. However, I'll tell you a few. The Facebook of the fetish community, or the BDSM community, is fetlife.com. You can find me on there as Master Cauldron or Cauldron Fire. There are groups on there. You can go to the group section. You can find all kinds of different groups. You know, if you're into being a furry, there's plenty of groups for that, and they're by areas. Here in East Tennessee, there are several groups on fetlife.com that I'm a member of. There's one in my town, and my town is very small. And we've got, I think it was around 400 members, something like that. And not all of those members actually live in this town. They may live in neighboring towns. But typically, you should really just join the ones that you can be a part of. Don't get on there and advertise. It's not that type of thing, and they'll smack you down for that. They won't tolerate it. Don't get on there. You know, I'm not going to get on there and just hammer them with my podcast. Hey, come listen to me, blah, 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 blah. That's not what it's all about. It's about munches. Munches are events that happen once a month. Saturday or Sunday, they post it. The administrator of the group will post where the munch is going to be at, always at a restaurant. You dress vanilla. The conversations can be anything from hardcore BDSM to talking about, you know, your kids and your grandkids. We're just people, and we just have conversations. We'll talk about work. What do you do? Oh, okay. Well, what do you do? Oh, that's cool. Tell me more. You know, occasionally you'll meet somebody that wants to play, and then you go somewhere private and you scene, and you may never see each other again, or you may be frequent play partners. It may be sexual, it may not be sexual, but these are good people. Typically, it's not just a hookup group, right? This is actually entering into the community. Local events, if you go to your adult toy stores, your adult video stores, just ask somebody there, hey, where's your advertising wall? I was very shocked the last time I was in one of our toy stores here locally because there were 9 flyers for fetish events. I was quite impressed with our little area here. The Kinky app, Kinki, that I talked about last week. Vanilla Umbrella app. You can get Kinky and Vanilla Umbrella apps on iTunes or at the Play Store or whatever they call it now on the Android, in the Android market. Open, spelled OP3N. You know, it's that reversed E that they use a 3 for. That is more for couples seeking individuals to come play with them. So it's not so much a BDSM thing, it's more of a 3-way hookup thing. To be honest, I downloaded it because somebody told me about it, and just to check it out for the sake of the podcast. it's a lot like Tinder, and it may just be the area that I live in, but I didn't see a whole lot of value in it. It's one of those apps that tries to get you to spend money on it. Those are just a few of the apps and ways that you can enter into the community. The main thing, look for the events. Because of the way that people look at us, unfortunately, and it's getting a little bit better, and hopefully this podcast will get big enough to educate people. Please share it. I've got a crowdfunding page on Patreon, Patreon. If you want to become a patron, a supporter, you can donate $1 a month, $3, $5, $10, $15, and $25, I believe. And it's a monthly thing. If you just go in there, I'll be putting up content that only the supporters will have access to, but you can find me on Patreon. All this is on my website, all these links under the resources and contact page at cauldronscrypt.com. Looks like about an hour is already gone. I have ripped through this week's agenda. Don't forget, if you have any questions, you can email me at mastercauldron@gmail.com. Sign up for the mailing list at cauldronscrypt.com. I do not spam. I'll send out a newsletter about once a month. I've got some blog posts there if you want to check those out. That'll give you a little bit more detail about who I am. Next week, we're going to dive deeper into the dominance role and common mistakes that people make as a dominant. But before that happens, we need to jump into some rules to live by. So make sure to listen to us next week, because we'll discuss some of the most important issues that will make or break your experience with BDSM. I'm Cauldron Fire for cauldronscrypt.com.